Welcome back to the School of Self-Worth. Today, I am coming to you with a solo episode on a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I heard to talk to you about intuition. And more importantly, what are the 4 surprising truths about intuition, including how it eliminates overwork? It was inspired by my conversation, which is coming next week with Renee Fick, who helps entrepreneurs leverage their menstrual cycles to be more productive. I wanted you to be primed and ready for the conversation about tuning into what works for you. So I put this one together. This is the kind of content I get most inspired to share. And if you are a high achieving career woman who wants to uncover your biggest blind spots, preventing fast, intuitive decisions, I've got a 72-second assessment for you. So make sure to DM me quiz on Instagram at Nicole Song. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to start today with a little story about what it was like before I understood what it meant to be intuitive. So first, I used to think it was an exclusive club, like the kind of club I was definitely not allowed to join, the kind of club where literally only Beyonce is admitted. So I was always feeling like I was on the outside of this intuitive club, but I was also really curious about it. Like, what was intuition? How exactly did it work? How come I wasn't one of those people who were dubbed intuitive? And I really also used to always think that intuition was just gut hits. And I've learned that it is a much more powerful tool than just that. So I'll be getting into all of that. And I will also be getting into today the turning point where I really started to understand my own intuition. And I will share that with you in a little bit. So, first, when I started to practice it and I started to learn from my own teachers about what intuition really was, I was honestly floored because it's not just like a magic 8 ball that always answers your questions for you. Although, who doesn't really want a magic 8 ball that actually is accurate? And your intuition is like that. But it also, this is the part that blew my mind, it makes you so much more efficient. And if you have ever hung out with me, you'll know that I love to be efficient. I am the queen of figuring out how to do things faster, more quickly throughout the day. I love to move lightning fast. And so and that really the reason that matters is I have more time then to do the things that I really want to do. So what I learned when I started to tune into my intuition is actually how inefficient I actually was. Because before I really tuned into intuition, it used to be when it came to decision making, especially personal decisions, like figuring out if I should take a new job or what I wanted to do even on the weekend, those kinds of decisions, I was slow as molasses. I would hem and haw. My big go to move was I would ask everyone else, my friends and my family, what they thought I should do. This came up a lot when I was dating. So, when I was dating someone new, I would call all my friends after the date was over. And I, of course, wanted to tell them how the date went. But really, what I wanted was for them to tell me if I should keep dating this person. And looking back, this is kind of crazy. Like, I can't believe I did that all the time because they were not on the date. They have no idea about whether this person was a good match for me. How could they possibly know if he was the right one just based on what I was telling them? Because they were only receiving information filtered through me. What I've learned over time is that there was a much deeper issue at play where I was outsourcing that decision to them because I didn't trust myself to make decisions. I was afraid I would make a mistake. So if I could say, oh, well, that person told me to keep dating him and that guy kind of didn't work out or I didn't really like him ultimately, I could say it was their fault rather than having to look back at myself and realize that I was the one responsible for those decisions. So this leads me to my turning point where I started to see and recognize that this pattern was occurring. Because when you do that, you start to outsource your decisions, or if you are outsourcing your decisions to other people, you are also outsourcing your power, your self-worth, your ability to navigate your own life. So it's an important thing to start to pay attention to that kind of pattern. So let me get back to my turning point. I had been working with my teachers on getting on the right side of my intuition and to learn to trust myself. And I remember I was having some kind of crisis of the many crises I was having in life where I felt really indecisive. And I can't even recall exactly what I was feeling indecisive about. I just know that I was feeling super indecisive. So I called my friend Rebecca, who was also working in the same body of work that I was trained in. And I really trusted her to help me make decisions that were the best ones for me. When I laid out everything, all the details of what was going on and the situation, and I wanted to know what she thought, she actually said to me, "What does your intuition say?" I literally was rocked. I remember I was, on my headset in my car talking to her, driving over the bridge from West Seattle to downtown Seattle. And I was like, what? And in my head, I was thinking, can't you just tell me what to do? Can't you just tell me the answer? And I really am so grateful to her that she did that, because it forced me to reflect that I did know the answer, because I actually did. And so a few days later, I was sitting at my computer. This is another moment that stands out so strongly to me. I was going through emails and I got an email that felt stressful. So if you can relate to this, whenever you look at your email, there can be things that come in that require a decision. And it came in and it was related, I think, to a yoga schedule type of thing. And I remember my first instinct was to push back from my desk and then immediately pull my phone out and call or text a friend to help me figure this one out. And in that moment, I remember thinking, maybe I should try something different. And I paused and I actually told myself, Nicole, you could actually ask yourself for the answer. It would be faster, because I don't have to ask everybody else. And then you could just actually respond. And once I realized I did know the answer, so I asked myself, and then I did know the answer. And it was literally like I was struck by a lightning bolt. Like I could not believe how much easier it was when I asked myself. And then this is the part that was amazing. I did know the answer. When I asked myself, I did know truthfully what the answer was. And it felt so huge. It was like, oh, in 5 minutes, I had made a decision and then I emailed them and I moved on. It was remarkable. So, what I wanted to put together for all of you today are the 4 surprising truths about your intuition and how it ends overwork, so that you can get a better understanding of what does it really do? Like, what does having your intuition do for your life in a really practical way, but also in this way of like, how do you start to live your life from a place that feels expansive and free and you have so much more time for yourself? So, the first surprising truth about your intuition is that the biggest barrier to intuition is the person who is listening to me right now. Yes, that is you. You are really the biggest block to accessing intuition. The awesome thing about being human is that all of us have this internal system that connects to intuition. And the only real thing you have to do is learn how to call it in. So it's just like having the passcode to your phone. You need to know the exact right one for you. And if you don't know it, you can't open the phone. And in fact, you can crash the system. And so when you know that right passcode to your phone, you can dial up your intuition literally at any time. You can have it accessible. It travels with you. It is always with you on your person. And it can actually turn into an automatic habit, just how like you know your passcode so easily on your phone, or it recognizes your face. It's just literally, it will open up for you at any moment. So if you don't know the passcode, it's because you are getting in your own way. You are living in the blocks to your intuition, and you're outsourcing your ability to access them or to access your own cool system. So for you, the really important thing is noticing if you're living in those blocks when you're not accessing intuition, and then learning to move through those blocks so that you can dial up, be on the right side of your intuition frequently, consistently, and use it for all the different parts of your day. The next surprising truth about your intuition is that it only lives in the present moment. So, in many ways, I think this is the best news, because that means it requires you to be present to access your intuition. So, if you have ever said to yourself, I really wish I was more present in my life, awesome. The knowledge and the desire and the intention to be present will actually give you access to the system much more quickly. The other cool thing about being present is that when you are present, it takes you out of being spun out in your head. You can't experience your intuition when you're in the thoughts of your past, or if you're thinking and ruminating about the future. It is only available right here, right now. So it actually already makes your life easier to be present. You're not worrying or doubting or freaking out about potential future outcomes. You're actually in the present. And then in the present, you can get your secret code to work. So the other cool thing also about this is the next simple truth about your intuition is your intuition then now eliminates the overthinking. So once you're in the present moment, you can't be in overthinking because your intuition doesn't talk that much. It's not a very chatty friend. Like if you have a friend who loves to talk and you're like, oh, we banter all the time, we have such a great time. Your intuition is like the quiet friend in the corner who says nothing. And then all of a sudden comes out with that boom, like that thing that strikes you in the gut. And you're like, oh my goodness, that's so accurate. That's what your intuition is like. It's very simple. And if you hear a voice that's talking endlessly, that is definitely not your intuition. And especially if you're spinning out on a decision and you're wanting to know where you are on the intuitive ladder, if you're asking everybody else what they think, that is actually not being in your intuition. It's like the story that I shared. When I was always asking everyone else what they thought, that was a very clear sign that I was not in my intuition. Besides the fact that that is extremely time consuming to spend all your time polling people for decisions in your life. Like I used to do this. I would call and text people like at least 5 minimum for any decision. Sometimes it was those decisions around like, should I take this new job? The decision to keep dating somebody, the decision for any kind of big choice you're making about a vacation. But when you start to tune into your intuition and you stop asking everybody else what they think, you just tell them what you're doing. And it's a much more efficient system. And you are actually just living your life in a speedier, quicker way of moving forward. And I have to tell you, it's such a relief. This is how you're going to get all of your time back. And this actually leads me to the fourth surprising truth. And this is the one you've been waiting for. Intuition eliminates overwork. How on earth does it do that? Because you're probably going to tell me your overwork is due to your bosses, it's due to your team, it's due to the culture of the people around you, and that's the reason that you overwork. I'm going to counter you and say that you are the primary source of overwork. And I'm not saying other people aren't asking things of you, but you are the only one who can determine how much you actually work. And once you get on the right side of your intuition, you no longer spend time questioning decisions that you've made, which is a huge source of overwork. You stop doubting yourself, which is leading you to being on your computer and working at night. And you also learn to run your day intuitively, which means you are more efficient with the time that you're spending. And you are also more into really setting clear boundaries with other people. I've learned that if I ask my intuition to structure my day, if I ask it to guide me through meetings, it directs me to the biggest, most important things first. And when it starts to take me to the biggest, most important things, I get so much more done. I am no longer spun out by all the small things that don't matter, but that make me feel busy or productive. And instead, I actually focus my attention on the things that really do matter and require the most energy, the most thinking and focus. When I follow my day intuitively, I am always done with my day faster. No question. And I also am done when I'm done at the end of the day, when I close my computer, I also really trust everything that I've done has been the biggest, most efficient, most important tasks. All of that has been done because I followed what my intuition guided me to do. A lot of people think intuition is just around big decisions, leading my life from the big picture, and it does do all of that stuff. And I do teach that with the intuitive blueprint. And what I think is the underestimated benefit of it is it actually, moment by moment through your day, can guide you. It can actually take you through, like, how do I want this meeting to go? I have 2 hours to work. What's the most important priority here? And then it also lets you go back out into the big picture and look at the overall picture of what you're doing and help you guide what it is you're doing, what's your purpose, where are you headed in your life. Your intuition also does that. The cool thing about your intuition is really the most powerful tool we have inside ourselves to guide our lives. And it is probably the most underused. So you get to actually decide if I want to start to focus on it. I want to actually to get on the right side of it and have it be the guiding force for me so that I can actually step into the next level of what I want to create in my life. Because I will tell you from my experience, like, I trust my decisions. When I'm done with work at the end of the day, I close my computer, I move on. I have time for myself in the evening. I have time for myself on the weekends. I don't worry endlessly about choices that I've made. And the more you start to run your life from this way, you have so much more free space and you have so much more time to do things that bring you joy and bring you fun and love and all of the things that we're looking to really experience on a daily basis in our lives. So these are the 4 surprising truths about your intuition. I would love to know which of these resonated the most with you. So, feel free to DM me at Nicole Song on Instagram. And stay tuned because next week I'll be chatting with Renee Fick about how to use your menstrual cycle to be more productive. It is such a fascinating conversation. You do not want to miss the insights that she shares. So stay tuned for that.